So after you're bitten or mauled by a dog, it's very important to figure out who the owner is. If you know that, that's easy. But if you don't know, look around, pay attention to where you're at, on which property the dog came from, and make note of that house or that apartment so that we can ideally figure out who owned the dog down the line. If you're not horribly injured, if you are horribly injured, obviously go to the hospital right away. Call 911, get the police involved if you can. They'll do the investigation piece while you're on your way to the hospital getting treated. If you're not horribly injured, take photos of the scene if you can, ideally of the dog, because people tend to hide dogs or argue, well, it wasn't that dog, it was a little fluffy. It wasn't Demon, it was Fluffy. I heard that more than once before. True names, actually. And, you want to be able to identify the actual dog that's involved, and it helps identify the owner because the owner's ultimately liable for the damages their dogs cause. Long conversation on that. Oregon law is a little bit complicated, but the summary is that the owner is generally liable for their damages. But if you can't figure out who the owner is, you have no idea who to make a claim against. So that can be a real problem. And then after that, probably obvious, but I'm going to say it anyways, follow your doctor's orders. If the doctor says, hey, you need stitches, hey, you need this antibacterial soap, hey, you need this medication, hey, you need to go and see physical therapy because the dog tore a nerve, hey, you need surgery. To the extent you can and it's reasonable, please follow your doctor's orders because in Oregon, you have a duty to mitigate your damages. And that includes following within reason your doctor's orders. If you don't do that, you could be leaving money on the table. But worse yet, you may not get the recovery that you could ultimately have if you did follow the doctor's orders. And I had a case once where a lady was bit in the hand by a cat. It resulted in a horrible infection. It actually killed the nerves to half of her hand, and she has permanent nerve damage. Could have been avoided if she followed the doctor's orders.